What's going on, guys? My name is Arrow, and today I'm here to tell you that boss rushing is back. All right, let's get right into the strategy. So the goal is you run to the map, you sprint to the boss, you kill the boss, and you leave. Realistically, you can do 12 maps in about 5 minutes. I tested it a few times, putting on a stopwatch, doing 12 maps, and that's on stream. So I'm looking at chat, I'm talking to people, etc. But it's pretty safe to say you can do 12 maps in 5 minutes. So that is 144 maps per hour if you are grinding pretty consistently. But let's, for the sake of it, call it 90 minutes. It actually took me about 2 hours to do the first 144 on stream. But again, I'm stopping to interact with chat. I'm looking at people's builds and PoE reviews and looking at items and talking about crafts. So 2 hours is not even close to what it should take you. But we're going to call it 90 minutes per set of 144. That is one tab full of maps. And we'll talk about what you can do at that speed. So what you're going to be running is Shore. And the reason that we chose Shore is because it's connected to Crimson Temple. There is an absurd amount of Shore maps on the market. You can find them for very cheap, or like I did, you can farm a lot of them yourself. You run a lot of Crimson Temples with the strategy where you have two favorited maps. It's Crimson Temple and Shore, and you will print Shores due to the way that connected map drops work in PoE. So we're running Shores. It's a pretty easy boss. It's very easy to get to the boss. The layout is either one way or the other. And when you spawn in, you'll very quickly learn, I need to go left or I need to go right based on which direction the map is facing. So in 90 minutes per set of 144 maps, you'll get around 5 to 6 incandescent invitations. In 288, you can expect 11 guaranteed invitations. These are selling in bulk for around 1.4 to 1.5, depending on the day, exalts. That's a lot of currency just from the invitations. But we're not just doing invitation rushing. And a lot of people ask me, why is this better than just invitation rushing? Which is, for those of you who are not familiar, it's when you enter the map, you run around for a second, try to kill a couple of packs, proc the influence, and then immediately leave. So that's a really good question. And the reason that it's better is because if you have a fast enough build on a map like Shore, you can essentially get to the boss and start to kill it in the time that it takes you to just proc influence on an average map. Many times when I'm being efficient, I hit a pack or two in the 5-second run from the spawn to the boss, and as I'm killing the boss, the influence will spawn. So if you think about the difference in time, it's maybe an extra couple of seconds to kill the boss and then leave. And the boss drops are very real. We'll get to the Atlas passive tree in a minute, but there are a lot of things that you get from the boss that are very much worth it. So let's talk about what the bosses drop. In our 288 map set, we got 3 Maven invites worth about 40 plus chaos. We got 6 synthesis maps, including 2 cortexes, and that totaled about 5.5 exalts. We got 8 conqueror maps, which are usually worth 30 to 35 chaos apiece. However, because we're running a strategy where we're on Shore and we have all but one favorite slot full of Crimson Temple, a lot of our maps are going to drop as Crimson Temples, and that includes conqueror maps. Those sell for 80 chaos apiece. I got a little unlucky and only 3 of my 8 were Crimson Temples, but that totals about 2.2 exalts. We got 15 Elder Guardian maps and 18 Shaper Guardian maps. Those total about 2.5 exalts. Again, these are all very conservative numbers. These are not bulk selling numbers. They're just what you'd get if you sold them one by one, which you shouldn't do. These will sell bulk on TFT or even on the regular PoE trade website. So for killing the boss, just in these big drops, we got an extra 11 exalts. On top of that, over 2/3 estimated of the favorited maps that dropped for us, which was 171 Crimson Temples and 31 Shores, dropped from the boss. If we just spawn the influence, we'd miss out on about 5 exalts worth of maps in this set, which that's a lot of currency. So cost, we'll call it 3.5 C per map. You can get them for much cheaper than that, 2.5 to 3, or like I said, farm them yourself doing Crimson Temples. That's what I would recommend. But that's about 1,000 C, so 5.5x worth of maps. You can chisel if you want. I don't know if it's necessary, but chisels are so cheap that it's probably worth doing. So all my chiseling, alking, and scouring cost me about an X maybe a little bit less. So our profit was 32 exalts and our cost was about 6.5. So that leaves us with over 25 exalts in profit in about 3 hours. You can do this in 2 hours. If you sit down with a fast build and lock in, you can absolutely do this in 2 hours. I'm just giving you the softest, most conservative estimate possible to not try to overinflate the numbers. Maybe your build's a little slower. Maybe you like to take breaks between maps. Fine. So we're adding 50% to the time that it should take you to do this for downtime. Again, for selling, I know a lot of people want to know how long does it take to sell. This is almost going to be an instant clear out. If you list the stuff on TFT, it should take you less than 5 minutes to sell everything because you're only picking up a few items. You're getting Conqueror maps, you're getting invitations, and you're getting like Crimson Temples and Shores. So our profit was about 25.5 exalts over 3 hours. That's over 8 exalts per hour in pure profit, guaranteed. The prices on this stuff doesn't fluctuate. There's no rares in here. There's barely even any items to pick up. You run to the boss. Sometimes on the way, you'll kill a pack and it'll drop a map or a chaos and you'll go grab it. Pretty rare, but it does happen. So for the most part, you're just killing the boss, picking up a few items and leaving. It's incredibly simple. All right, let's talk about the Atlas passive trait. So some things that are mandatory. Baptized by Fire. This is going to give you double progress. It's going to get you invitations faster. Light of Dawn is really nice because it makes it so you're more likely to proc altars, which is actually really good for progressing your challenge to get these done. I usually would get one on every single map. So over hundreds of maps, that really helps the progress of your Atlas challenge. In order to get synthesis maps, you want to take the synth wheel. In order to get Shaper and Elder maps, you want to take Remnants of the Past. In order to drop Conqueror maps, you want to take Conquered Conquerors. I took this wheel. It's not super necessary, but it definitely dropped me some currency. Map bosses drop an additional basic currency item. Sometimes it dupes the map boss. So you get some currency that way. Some chaos drops. Sometimes they were little stacks of chaos. This was just like kind of a nice to have, especially if you're doing a lot of these. And then the rest of the tree is pretty much the hat to give you effective modifiers, map drop duplication, and then we took Alva and June to just generate a bunch of missions, and at the end of this I had like 100 of each, so that was really nice. But very simple tree. The one caveat I will add to this, if you're going to do this strategy, don't do it for an hour. The cost to respec your tree to this is not insubstantial. I ran about 1,000 maps. It was more than worth it at that amount. You could do less, but keep in mind there is a cost to re-rolling your Atlas. Link to this will be down in the description below. All right, so all in all, I had an absolute blast doing this strategy. It was fast, it was fun, it was super rewarding, and I didn't even really drop anything out of the ordinary. No exalts, no mirrors, unlike a viewer who did this strategy, dropped a mirror on the way to the boss. I just had a really good time. It was guaranteed loot. I didn't have to worry about, am I going to get 300 simulacrum splinters? Did I do all this right? You don't have to worry about, is that big drop gonna happen? Is the Omni or Ashes gonna happen? Is this a gamble? With this, there's no gambling. You just run to the boss, it drops you good loot, you leave the map. And then every 26 or so maps, it drops you an invitation, bang. So I didn't actually end up selling any of my invitations. I ran them all. I had a blast with them. If you want to see the invitation boss farming strategy, I will link that video in the description and maybe put it up here. So check that out. That was a really good moneymaker as well. I'm going to leave a POB in the description of the build that I used to farm this. It is very goofy, it's quirky, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but it was really fast and it killed the bosses. I'm not going to recommend that you play that build. I'm just going to put it in there because I know people are going to ask, what'd you use? Anything that just goes really fast and can kill a tier 16 map boss is all you need. Just as fast as possible. Using things like self-chill, tailwind, Raider onslaught, anything that's really fast. My character peaked at about 490 move speed when I had everything going. You don't have to have a build that's that fast. You can be a little bit slower and it's fine, but I do recommend a speedy build for this. So the link to that will be down in the description. Now, if you have questions, if you're going to try to put that build together for some reason, even though I don't recommend it, stop by my stream and I can try to help answer any questions that you might have about it. Twitch.tv/AER0___. That link will be in the description. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for checking out this video, and I will see you soon. And as always, take care.